Hi, welcome back to my video. It's been a while since my last video, and during this period I have made a major change to the programs. From the data user's point of view, that you may see the interface have changed, and but the functionality is either similar or get enhanced. Okay, so the program basically get more powerful. And for this video, we'll skip all the technical detail and we'll concentrate on the data. And for those following my video, you would have seen my analysis of the distance education from the enrollment side. And today we're going to look at the distance educations from the completion side of the IPEDS survey, on the completer side of the IPEDS survey. Basically, we're going to look at the number of programs that have been made available through the distance education channel. And also in this video, I will only look at the thing from the top levels. That means we'll only look at the United States total or the state aggregations, but we will not dive into the institutional levels. And also for the zip code, we'll only stay on the 2-digit zips. And for the coming videos, we'll dive into more details. Okay, and I think let's start it. Okay, the first thing we need to do is select the institutions. And we're using a very simple basic tab. And the first thing we do, we retrieve the year, data years, and let's use the 2016. And as I mentioned, we're not going to look at the institutional levels, and we're only going to look at the sector 1. And if you not following my video before, the sector 1 is basically a public 4-year institutions. And we'll left the rest alone. Okay. And we'll go to the majors tab. Okay, for the majors, basically we're looking for the variable we're looking for. We search for the variable we're looking for. And for this case, we're looking at the completion data, and we're going to search it. And once we search the variable, we see a whole bunch of returns. And basically you can go through each one and pick the one you want. And of course, if you have some experience after you browsing it, you may like to filter the list so that you can easily locate your variables. Okay, for today's purpose, we'll be looking at the program that's been offered by distance educations. Okay. And we're not going to look at all the levels. IPEDS provides much more levels than I try to demonstrate. So I will select the associate degree, the bachelor degree, and I'll skip all the certificate, and also skip the doctors, and I'll select the master degree, and the post-bachelor degree, and also the total. Okay, that means it's sum over all the levels. Okay, and then I'll add this variables or the majors to my picked list. Okay, so it's over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems I'm missing one. I missed the bachelor. Okay, let's delete that and do it again. Okay, here you go. And the next thing we need to do is define the user measures. Okay. Okay. What it does is it's take the IPEDS variables or measures and search the database and see where all this variable located, and then they give you a choice of where all those data, choice of the database tables. Okay, in this case, all those variables in one table. So just select that, and over here that we will be able to define how we're going to rename those variables and also do something to the zip code. Like I mentioned earlier, we are only interested in two-digit zip codes. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the functions MID and 1 and 3. Okay. I basically take the 3 character out of the zip code, the first 3 characters, and the reason for that is the IPEDS data. If you look at the IPEDS data, they break the zip code by say 01. That's 2-digit 1, and it's agricultural. And then they also tell you the 01.000, okay, or the 01.001. So those are individual zip, and the 01 basically is the sum of all those. And the only reason I select the 3 is so that we can see the 3 will be the sum of all those. That's the capability of my program be able to do that. And then we can compare with the 01. And part of the reason for this is just show you the ability to do this. For example, in a later video, I might be able to select, I might be selecting 4-digit zip, okay, or 6-digit zip, and we can do that. Okay, so our program can do that. For today, like what I say, we'll stay in the higher levels, so we're not going to dive into the details. And over here, I'm going to give a name for the new formatted videos, new formatted variables. So I'm going to call it a zip2, but with a digit, with a dot, okay, with a dot over here. And our name of this variable, I'll call it a distance education associate. Okay, and this is important for later video. You will see that naming the variable sensitively can help you organize your data better. And the way I did over here is basically first I specify where this data coming from. If it's concerning the distance education, and I divided and I provided the code descriptions. And in case you have more than one tables, the DE or the prefix will help you distinguish the data source. For example, you may have a total enrollment number from 2 different tables, and by specifying a prefix, it allows you to be able to distinguish where those numbers coming from. Okay, I think we are ready. Okay, I think we're ready. So we're going to add the user variables. Okay, these are the user variables. So once you add the user variables, and you can select that. Okay, the program has been enhanced. Basically, we will allow you to do all different kind of combinations. But for today, we're doing a simple one, so we'll only handle one user major set. Ideally, you can define many user major set, and then you can do all. But for this particular one, we'll just do this. And once you select that, you can come to here to get the data. And it'll take a while. I don't have the fast machine, and my machine runs both the server and the client, so it'll take a little while. Okay, we'll wait, and I'll wait a little bit for the data to coming back. Okay, here you go. Where you go, you can see the data coming back, and it's have state abbreviations, and there's a zip code. You notice that there's a 03, there's a 03 dot. Okay, so those are the one that we trimmed down, and those are the total from the IPEDS directory. Okay, and this is data. And once you get data, you probably like to look at the data to get a better idea what the data look like, and that's where the plot option come to play. Okay, and in this one, that excuse me, for the plot option, one thing you need to do is you need to be selecting the x-axis and also select the serial. And every serial is basically a line, and so you represent the serial basically represent the lines on the chart. Okay, and in this particular case, we'll select the X, select the zip code as the X. Okay, and we'll select all of them. And for the beginning, we just use the year as the serial. So we basically just have one line, basically. And we're not going to we're going to handle the state a little bit later. But for now, we need to define some of the variables so we can calculate the value we're interested in. Okay. And basically, we're looking at each one of these variables. Each one of the columns. And we define our variables according to that. And this is a little bit tedious, but let's get it done. So that's the associate degree. Okay, we make sure I did that. Okay, and then we do a bachelor degree. And then I want to do a master degree. And you may think this is very tedious, but this is how we be able to provide a flexibility. Okay. And later, in the later videos, we can show you how to use the advanced tab and to take advantage of all the variables we define and do something much more flexible and powerful. Okay, now we do a post-bachelor. And some of the use of this basic tab you can look at my previous videos, Let's show some of the usage of those. Okay, got to add that. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we do the total. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And once you have this one defined, all you need to do is click this button, calculate all point. Okay. And you go to the plot tab, and there you go. Let's start with the total first. Okay. Okay, over here we see there's a very tall line. That's a 99, SIP 99, and the SIP 99 is the total. And we really don't want that because it's just the sum of all the SIP, and let's basically mask all the details we would like to be able to see. So let's take the 99 out of this. Okay, let's recalculate all the points. Okay. Now let's go back and let's again plot the total. Okay, over here is much better. So what we're looking at over here is a number of distance education program that are provided in the United States, and by the 2-digit zip code. Okay, and you can see the reason there's 2 of them is 13, and that's 13 dot. Okay, and like what I mentioned before, that one is provided by the IPEDS, and this one is what we summed it up. And you can see they should end up with the same number. So that's a check of our data or our method. Okay. Now, if you look at the United States with all the degree levels, and you can find out education. There are a lot of education programs that are available through the distant educations. And remember that this is include all the levels. So this is not necessarily the teacher's certificate or the teacher's continuing education, but include all the different levels. That's fall under the zip code 13. Okay, and the next higher one will be the 52, zip 52, and those are the business class, business programs. And I think that's understandable. It's a business program. Probably don't need any special equipment and or for you to stay in the lab. So it's likely to be provided through the distant educations. And then the next one will be the medical 51, 651. That's a medical. And remember, this cover all the field, so it's not necessarily just the doctors. Okay, not necessarily just the doctors. And as we all know, the doctors probably need some kind of practical and probably need to spend time in the lab. So those are not necessarily just those medical, specific medical classes. Okay. And so you can see this allowed us to look at the total. How about different degree levels? Okay, over here we can say we select the bachelor. Okay, so for the bachelor degree, and you can see for a bachelor degree the education is no longer that high. So that tells you that not, usually the education classes that you have some kind of practical lab, and you need or the demonstration, you need to do it in the class. Okay, And so it's not just a bachelor degree levels that's covered by the distance education. There's something else that's provided much. That's why the education is much higher. Okay, and over here you can see again, business now become much higher than the medical. Okay, and you can also, let's look at the post-bachelor degrees. Okay, and we know that's where the teacher's education are. So let's say plot, and you can see over here, you can see the education become much higher. Okay, and the lows are a little below. Okay, and for my program, you can actually see all of them if you want. Well, let's just skip the total because that one make everything so low. But you can plot all of them at once. Okay, you can see by looking at this is the associate, what the associate degree look like, and this is what the bachelor degree look like, and this is what the master degree look like, and this is what the post-bachelor look like. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, after look at the U.S. total, you may be wondering, say, how about can we look at some of the states? And yes, you can do that. So let's let's switch it to the series to the state. Okay, and let's scroll down to, let's look at Massachusetts. Okay, and let's take that one off. Okay, over here, ideally you can also have a 2015, and you can, or other years, and you can show them, you aggregate or you look at them as a different series. Okay, and over here, let's just choose Massachusetts. And let's calculate all the points. And if you go to the plot and you do a total, and let's show you the Massachusetts. Okay, let's show you the distance education provided by Massachusetts, state of Massachusetts. Okay, and you can see for Massachusetts they have a very high business degree, business program, and also the medical programs. Okay, and then we may be wondering about different levels, and you can do that too. Okay, again we're going to skip the total. Okay, and here you see for the associate degree, okay, there's some business and some of the 15. If you don't remember what 15 is, you can go to here and you filter for the 15. Okay, we covered it in my previous video. And the 15 are some kind of engineer thing. Okay, integrated circuit design, electric engineering. Okay, technology. So this is more like the technology technician kind of thing. Okay. Go back to the chart. So that's your associate, and you can see that's reasonable because for the associate degree, the technicians, the 15 is one of them, and the 11 is basically the computer science. Okay, so that's also reasonable to be taught through the distance educations. And the other one would be the business. Okay. Now, if we look at the bachelor degree, for the bachelor degree, we have very high at the medical, at the business degree, and the some at the 51 at the medical, and that's also 24. You can look at 24. Okay, and again you can go back to there and search for the 24. Okay, let's do that. 24. And you can see the 24 basic liberal art and the humanities. Okay, and again, those are reasonable to taught through the distance educations. Okay, so this is a bachelor degree. And for a master degree, and you can see here's what a lot of the 13, a lot of educations, and also the post. If you look at the post-bachelor degree and post-bachelor certificate, and you see that's the distributions. Okay. And then maybe you're thinking, well, how about can I comparing state? Okay. And one thing you can do over here is, well, see we have the S as a state. So basically, let's say, let me add the Nebraska to it. I don't know why you won't compare all the Massachusetts and the Nebraska, but you could. Okay. And you can also, if you like, you can select your regional state and do the comparison. That may make more sense. For example, for all the states in the New England area, they may like to compare to each others. So again, let's recalculate all the points, and let's go to the product tab, and let's do the total first again. Okay. So over here you can see this is what the Massachusetts look like. Okay, and you can see for Massachusetts, they are not as high in the education like the Nebraska. Okay, for Nebraska they have much higher in the education. For the Massachusetts, they have a much higher at the business and the medical area, and the medical and the business programs. And then there's the 13, then there's 11, the computer science, and there's 15 technicians. Okay, and that's 43. Okay, we may like to look at 43, see what 43 is. So let's go to there, and then let's filter for the 43. Correction, criminal justice, and security, juvenile corrections. And again, some of those it's reasonable to taught through the distance education classes. Okay. And you may say, well, let's look at the different levels. So you could, let's don't do too much. Let's do a bachelor and a master. Okay. Okay. Now you can see this is the Massachusetts bachelor. This is the Massachusetts master. So there's a bachelor, that's the master. Okay, bachelor, master, bachelor, master. Okay, so you can see the bachelor is more on the 24, while on the master's on the educations. And this is Nebraska bachelor. Okay, Nebraska bachelor is not much on the educations, it's higher on the business, and Nebraska master is much higher on the educations. Okay. So I think that's basically what I like to show today. Okay, and we are looking at the state level, at the U.S. level and the state level. We didn't look into the institutional level, but we could. Okay, this program can do that, and we select basically the distance education variables. And we define our variables, and we collapse the zip code. Okay, we collapse zip code so we don't look at 6-digit. Again, we could look at 6-digit if we want to. And then we get the data, we get the raw data, and of course you can copy those raw data and put it on your spreadsheet and do whatever you want. And with this program, it also comes with the product options, and you can see you can do all kind of combinations over here. Okay, and over here we can actually, for examples, over here we can actually define the variables that add, let's say, the bachelor degree and the associate degree, and then we can call it the different variables, and then we can show them as a sum on the chart. Okay, and on the plot tab, and basically you'll be able to select either one, or you can select multiple. Okay, and I hope you enjoy this videos, and hope it give you some insight into the distance education data from the U.S. level and the state levels. Okay, and I'll see you next time. And before I leave, that again, let me remind you that personally I got a few projects going on, and if you're interested in this program, in this project, please leave a comment or send me through the email so that I will spend more time on this project. Okay, thank you. See you next time.